Goedemiddag dames en heren, welkom terug hier in de ijshallen in Zwolle. Het is tijd voor de eerste Nederlander, maar niet nadat we eerst zijn tegenstander hebben geïntroduceerd. Een man die zijn debuut gaat maken op de Eurotour en dus ook hier in Nederland. Vorig weekend nog won hij een van de Challenge Tour toernooien. Hij is dus in vorm. De nummer 179 van de wereld, Bad Madison, Adam Huckvale! En dan zijn tegenstander, de eerste Nederlander op deze Dutch Darts Masters. Het gaat zijn tweede keer worden dat hij dit podium betreedt. Al voor de 5e keer plaatst hij zich dit jaar voor een Eurotour toernooi. Dames en heren, de Machine Gun, Jermaine Wattimena!
Well, step aside, Peter Snakebite, right? Jermaine Wattimena is getting the party started here in Zwolle for the Dutch Darts Masters. What an entrance that was! And it is a first appearance for this man, Adam Huckvale, on the European Tour. Fresh from winning the most recent Challenge Tour event, hoping to take his game onto the big stage. But Wattimena determined to own it in his home nation. Having come through the qualifiers last night, just a correction from the previous match. I said that he beat Danny Noppert to get here. That was actually Jeffrey de Graaf. Wattimena, of course, the youngster Wessel Nyman in his decisive match. We'll let you know who else he beat en route in the course of this contest, but it's been a hat-trick of close encounters so far as Rob Malarkey returns to the commentary box. Could this be another one?
I think it could be, you know. I mean, there's a case to be made for Wattimena, of course. He's 35 on the Order of Merit, and he's got plenty of European Tour experience under his belt, including a first ever run to the third round last weekend in Sindelfingen.
Game on.
That's the first ever time he's made the final day of a European Tour event. He was beaten by Michael Smith even at the Glass Palace. But Huckvale, as you say, perhaps
96.
with a bit of confidence coursing through his veins this weekend, given his success on the Challenge Tour last weekend.
100.
Finally claiming a PDC title at Challenge Tour 12. And he'd had prior to that, some good runs so far this year as well, earning
59.
him a place at a recent Pro Tour event, and I think more of those will come along now. He's handily placed. I think the way it is this year, there are pretty
100.
much, I think, 4 or 8 places ready to be filled anyway.
Yeah, basically it's changed. So when the 128 tour card holders that qualify for Players' Championship events, if any of them are not available or opt
69.
out of the tournaments, that is now filled from the Challenge Tour Order of Merit, when previously it was filled from the Q Tour
140.
Adam Huckvale is now 4th on the Challenge Tour Order of Merit.
So we'll see a lot more of him.
Certainly will. And we're going to see some of him this afternoon and perhaps even beyond.
137, Jermaine, we go 161.
161 the target for the machine gun. I reckon he'll go for it if he gets the chance, but we're not going to find out.
97, Adam, you call 140. 23.
I think that's 1 point on the board.
Yeah, 3 at best.
164.
One double for Jermaine. He's edging towards it.
32. Adam, you require 117.
1 point on the floor, I should say, but Huckvale just taking his time here. Under pressure on his throw from the word go. 97 away, looking at treble 19 for tops, but not
57.
to beat.
Jermaine, you require 32.
So now for Wattimena for the opening leg. He has the break, and the Dutchman gives a little salute to the
Second leg, Jermaine, to
orange fans
Florence.
inside the IJsselhalle here in Zwolle.
The Orange Army, always a sight at the Premier League night, or
60.
nights as it was this year in Rotterdam. Sea of orange, and we're going to see more in attendance on Saturday and Sunday here as the Dutch darts crowd hope for a fifth consecutive Dutch winner of this tournament, although the previous four have all been the same fella.
84.
The Dutch involvement this afternoon after this match is just the last match, Christian Kiss.
58.
And then we will see later on this evening Jeffrey de Graaf and Jan Dekker. Dekker has it tough though, he's facing Adrian Lewis. I'll tell you what, Wattimena turns to greet the faithful crowd there with that maximum. I'm not sure I've ever seen Wattimena look so happy on his entrance to the stage.
It wasn't a walk on, it was a sprint on. He was
100.
bouncing up the stage and high-fiving pretty much everybody who got in his way.
Well, they say that happy workforce is a good workforce, Rob. That might bode well for him in this match. Huckvale just hoping that he manages to find his feet quick enough that he's not out of sight, Wattimena.
93.
We saw a case of that with Ryan Joyce in the first match. Found himself behind by 3 legs on 3 occasions, but managed to settle down and pull himself back into it and then go on to win.
Yeah, I just get the impression with Huckvale he can't afford to give Wattimena too much of a safety blanket here. Just needs to try and hang on to the coattails for as long as he can. Double 12 now for the Dutchman here to extend his lead to 2-0, but a chance for Huckvale to break back because he's not been able to find the double 6 either. And these are the sorts of chances that Huckvale has to take. Tops then, 2 darts in hand to level things up once again.
The tricky one, isn't it? First dart stood up, but now he's got an open bed.
40. When you require 6.
Well,
Short the second leg.
it's his European Tour debut, Adam Huckvale. You obviously need some bedding in time, but in a best of 11 format, sometimes, well, often you don't have the time to settle in. You need to hit the ground running. And Huckvale trails here already by 2 legs to 0. But this is a good response by the 27-year-old from, well, take your pick, Greater Manchester or Worcestershire, we'll say.
Yeah, we both spoke to him separately. And I
got my wires crossed earlier when I spoke to him, I think, yeah.
He either gave us different stories or we both interpreted the same story differently. I believe he lives in Lee, in Greater Manchester right now.
36.
But was initially from the Evesham, Redditch area.
140.
Beat Luke Woodhouse and Darren Johnson in qualifying for this. Darren Johnson 6-5 in the final round of qualifying. Luke Woodhouse, we've seen a bit of him on the Euro Tour this year as well.
Well, this is much better than maybe it has settled.
180.
Doesn't get him down to a finish, and Wattimena will have the chance at least to pick the pocket, because that 96 leaves the big fish for Wattimena to reel in.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get the 180, it gets you blood pumping a little bit, it gets the crowd going, but he's ultimately left himself
97.
a bogey number, and Wattimena here, well, this would be one heck of a steal. He's got the first pass, not quite the second.
130.
Well, he found the bullseye for good measure as well.
Adam, you require
so it's just asking the question, isn't it? He's telling him that he can't afford to miss by leaving himself a double. And it's only going to be 1 dart.
32.
And that 1 dart, yeah, was a double 18.
A badly thrown dart, but matters not. If it's not in, you don't win.
30.
The chances presented itself again.
Adam, you require 36.
Quite like that, just settling himself down, giving himself a moment. We see the likes of Rob Cross do that kind of thing. Saw Dave Chisnell do it to great effect last weekend, but it hasn't worked out so far. Can he nail double 9? Yes, he
It's on
can.
the third leg, Adam Huckvale.
Well, is that the
Well,
game
Jermaine
changer that he was looking for? Leg on the board for Huckvale. It's a hold
100.
of throw, but it's certainly something that will settle him down here. And as you say, Chris, it was good game management, that, I think, just to take a moment. He had a little glance over to his corner as well, as his other half here this week. Not sure if it's his wife or girlfriend. Anyway.
Didn't ask that in the shuttle ride from the airport. Too personal.
121.
I don't know if she's called Jemima.
She is called Jemima.
Or do you think I just made it up?
That's just an unusual name, that's all. Not unheard of, I know, but
60.
there she is. Cheer up.
Well,
He's doing well. He's okay. Okay, he's a little bit adrift in this one. Or maybe a bit more adrift now.
well, I'm sure she was happy when he trousered that cheque for his challenge to a victory, Adam Huckvale.
Yeah, £2,000.
48. Jermaine, you're 140.
Well-known names along the way, including a 5-0 whitewash win over Wes Newton.
100.
We'd also seen off Stuart Kellett and a final victory against Darren Beveridge.
No doubt thirsty for more success here this weekend, Chris.
I have in that one. Here all
90.
here all weekend at least.
He's showing the full play.
Well, as well as a lovely city, I wouldn't mind staying here all week, actually.
Fifth leg, Adam to
That Challenge Tour event that he won, by the way, also saw another 9-dart leg, didn't it? Lee Turl it was, against Dave Prince.
Yeah, that was
99.
played at the same time as the European Tour event last weekend, where Rob Cross missed double 18 and was unable
100.
to lift the curse. And I believe it was a 250th 9-darter in the PDC.
Yeah, there was just a little bit of deliberation. There have been others elsewhere in Asia.
Yeah.
Corey Cadby hit one in Australia, for example, as well.
96.
But yeah, we'll stick with that.
133.
Although we can say it next time as well. If you want, we'll knock another off from somewhere else. It'll fit the narrative nicely.
139.
Making good progress here. Down to a finish after 9.
126. Adam, you recall 167.
Wattimena might look at a couple of treble 17s when he comes back. We'll see.
86. When you recall
Route he fancies. Oh, he's gone straight for that. He's got to stay there, surely. Well, tops.
100.
Well, he knew what he was doing, even if I didn't.
Adam, you require 81.
But in the end, Huckvale has one of those chances again where you feel it must go.
Okay, well, he's not got the treble, but he's got the 12 for bullseye. And he's hit the single
34.
3.
When you recall
Now, the flight was
40.
deceiving at first. It blocked the ball, but it was actually nowhere near. And his chances...
30.
Well, I was going to say his chances may be slipping
Adam,
away,
you
but
recall 47.
Wattimena, he looked in a friendly mood when he came onto the stage. Perhaps too friendly to his opponent here.
Which way is he going to go? He's going to go 7 for tops. And
He's on
7
the
for
fifth
tops
leg, Adam
is the route to glory
Jermaine
for
to
Adam
reverse.
Huckvale. He gets another leg on the board. It's a hold of throw for 3-2.
It seemed like Adam
43.
Huckvale's being on the cliff egg, dangling over for the duration of the match, but Wattimena keeps offering his hand.
Well, already, Wattimena, you have to say, is fairly well placed to
25.
qualify for the European Championship this year. I think if he maintains this sort of productivity on the European Tour, he's picked up £8,000 on the European
40.
Order of Merit already from 4 events. He didn't qualify for Graz, but he made the 3rd round last weekend. He made the 2nd round in the German Open and also in Leverkusen as well. Just had that one first-round defeat by Alan Sabin
I think it's
at the German Grand Prix.
a big deal to qualify
41.
from the Dutch qualifiers for this tournament because there's only 4 places available for the players that usually compete in the European qualifiers.
95.
And you just look at the names that didn't come through that. You had, Jeffrey Disvan, who's won a PDT event this year. Vincent van der Voort didn't make it. Danny Noppert, who reached the semi-finals last weekend. So to come
Easy.
through that field takes some doing, and Wattimena, just by getting here, has bolstered his chances even further.
108.
Of course, another big name, Barney, had to go through the UK qualifier, given his involvement in the Premier League, of course.
100.
But Barney didn't qualify.
Yeah.
Again.
And that involvement in the Premier League came to an end. Well, it had been at an end anyway, but he had to play his dead rubber match against Michael Smith last night in Aberdeen.
Yeah, he finished sixth in the table, didn't he, behind Gurney? Although, had it been 3 points for a win, he would have claimed fifth place had it followed football's way. But just 2 points for the win. And, Daryl Gurney, ultimately, 8 draws, only 4 defeats, though, for the Super Chin.
Well, the interesting story for me is Michael Smith, who is very, very unwell. He's struggling with pleurisy, Michael Smith, and he opted to play in the Premier League very honourably, saying that it wouldn't be fair on
for the integrity of the whole
player to give Barney a 7-0 win. Now, Smith is going to head here, attempting to book his place in the World Cup of Darts team if he can outperform Dave Chisnell. Right now, Jermaine Wattimena outperforming Adam Huckvale, but you just feel that there will be more chances for Huckvale to get his way back into the match.
76.
I think the other thing about Wattimena as well, I mentioned his good runs in Europe this year, looking well placed to qualify for the European Championship if he maintains all this. But, he made the last 16 at the UK Open as well, took 7 legs off Gary Anderson, which I think when you look back at the way things panned out, I mean, Anderson played really well that weekend. Coupled with the fact he's just outside the top 32 in the world, this could be a really good year for him, I think.
134.
I think another big performance in one of these, or one or two of these European Tour events, maybe getting to the quarterfinals for the first time. It could just give him a further spring to take him on to the next stage of his career. He's still, he's still only, 30 years old as well, so bags of time on his hands.
60.
Well, yeah, the run to the semi-finals of a Players' Championship event at the back end of last year is one of the handful of players to beat Michael van Gerwen in 2018.
100.
Van Gerwen, his compatriot, will be heading here to defend his title.
95.
And look for a 24th European Tour crown.
Yeah, and what is it? He's got 10 already this year, and he reckons he might fancy his chances of beating his record of 26 for one calendar year. In the meantime, Adam Huckvale fancying his chances of holding throw once again. And he will get the opportunity.
Yeah, that requires 32.
Picture perfect maximum. But the important bit is on the outer ring.
He's shot the 7th leg, Adam Huckvale.
Much more assured now.
Yeah, important that he took that out, I think, at the first time of asking. There were just still 1 or 2 question marks about his finishing today, but that has certainly answered a few of them, and going well. Still needs to find a break from somewhere. Those opportunities are running out here. Wattimena 2 holes of throw, and he will be through to round 2, but it's just livening up this one a little bit.
137.
It was interesting.
134.
Whether Jermaine Wattimena entered the stage, really up for it, really. We're not going to pretend that we're at a capacity crowd on a Friday afternoon on the Euro Tour. It does obviously improve when people finish work on Friday evening and then usually sellouts for the weekend days. But it does have the feel that Wattimena's gone to a party and he's the only person up for it, and he's kind of starting to fall a little bit flat.
And Huckvale just beginning to find the trebles with a bit more regularity as well.
136.
Looking to spoil the party for the Dutchman. He's down to a finish first.
100. Adam, you require 144.
Yeah, he's still averaging only 79 or so, but I think ignore the first 2 or 3 legs, and he's really, really picked up.
60.
It was interesting. He decided not to get here early enough to have a few darts on stage before his match.
42.
Obviously, you can't do that once the tournament's in play. You can't just interruption of a match and I want 3 darts, 6 darts, whatever it is. He said, I've played on stages before. I know what a stage feels like. But it does look like it's taken him time to settle. But once he has settled, he looks every bit a match for Jermaine Wattimena.
Chance for a break here.
Can he make it a match?
78. Jermaine requires 68.
Well, was that the chance? Was that the chance?
He's shot the A flag. Jermaine Wattimena.
I think if Wattimena goes on to win this match, we will
Adam
look back at that moment.
Game
It could so easily have been 4-all. Instead, it's 5-3, and that could well be a very significant moment as far as the outcome of this one is concerned. There was just a rogue cheer as well when Huckvale missed that dart.
96.
which presented the chance for Wattimena. Still not over yet though. Huckvale has to hold here though. And all of a sudden the big numbers are drying up.
30.
Well, the winner of this takes on Joe Cullen tomorrow. Cullen in the same position as he was last weekend, having to face a home nation qualifier in his first match.
100.
And he let the crowd know about it after beating Martin Schindler. And I don't know if Wattimena will have watched that, but it might be a little tactical ploy to do
95.
everything he can to get the crowd against Joe Cullen. Not saying I endorse that kind of behaviour, but
134.
I'm sure it has been employed from time to time.
You are a master of the dark arts, Chris. Come on.
Well, I think sometimes
80.
players, if it can be an admission that you don't expect to win the match. I think players in the past employed it when they knew Wayne Mardle's the first to admit it,
58.
when he knew that he was worse than his opponent. Then now and again he'd try and get the crowd on his side, try and make a bit of noise when they were throwing, but he also says that the game has moved on since those days.
100. When you require 113.
56 away then. Tops for Wattimena.
93.
The celebrations are on hold.
100.
Last chance. Huckvale to keep himself in the contest. He's got, well, probably to go for 2 double tops. That's why he stepped across. Couldn't find it. And that could well
60.
be that.
When you require 20.
So now looking at the more simple equation of double 10 for Wattimena for the match.
Jermaine Wattimena.
And Jermaine Wattimena acknowledges the crowd here at the Dutch Darts Masters. The home fans delighted to see one of their own go through. It's a losing debut on the European Tour for Adam Huckvale. Maybe just a bit too slow to get started. Once he did get going, there were some really encouraging signs, you have to say, as well. But maybe, just maybe, left himself with a little bit too much to do. But it's a very, very good experience, and that's a nice touch by Jermaine Wattimena as well to acknowledge the efforts of his opponents. Huckvale will go back to doing his day-to-day stuff on the Challenge Tour as well. I'm pretty sure we'll see him again on the European Tour. Much more to come from him, you suspect as well. Let's hear from the latest winner.
Ja, natuurlijk. We zaten van tevoren, speelt je eigen land, een beetje nerveus. Mis hier en daar wat dubbels. Hij laat ook zijn kans liggen. Ik denk dat we allebei elkaar een beetje afstraffen en waar wij missen eigenlijk.
Je speelt een heel goed jaar voorlopig, in ieder geval op de Europese Tour 2018. Het is je 5e Eurotour toernooi al. Wat zijn je doelen voor dit jaar?
Darten.
Dat soort antwoorden krijg ik nou altijd van Jermaine. Heel fijn voor hem inderdaad. Je zit in ieder geval in de tweede ronde. Morgen tegen Joe Cullen, vaak tegen gespeeld?
2 keer. En ik denk dat iedereen de laatste keer wel heeft gezien. Dat het een spannende wedstrijd was. En dat zou het morgen ook worden.
We gaan het zien morgen. Dames en heren, Jermaine Wattimena!